Family is meant to pick you up, to wrap you in your times of need. But what if the people you love twist the knife instead? Elizabeth Harrison believed she knew her family. A single phone call flipped everything upside down. This is the tale of a betrayal so brutal it forced her to fight back in ways they'd never anticipate. Elizabeth sat in her design studio in Old Town, Boston, the October air growing chilly outside. Her pencil moved quickly across a sketchpad, tracing a nursery for her sister's unborn baby. Soft blues and yellows covered the page, a warm sanctuary for a baby she'd never see. Her heart hurt, recalling the miscarriage 6 months before. The pain still lingered, heavy and unspoken, like a shadow that clung. Her assistant, Kate, poked her head through the door. "Elizabeth, you've got a client on the phone." Elizabeth forced a smile, closing her sketchbook. "Thanks, Kate. Put them through." She was one of Boston's top interior designers, known for breathing life into old buildings. Her recent feature in a design magazine had brought a flood of new clients. The call was quick, a consultation for a brownstone remodel. As she hung up, her cell phone buzzed. The screen said, "Mom." Elizabeth hesitated, thumb suspended. She replied, preparing herself. "Mom, what's up?" Martha Harrison's voice was warm and tinged with expectation. "Elizabeth, you're coming to dinner tonight, aren't you? It's for Rebecca's pregnancy. Your father's chosen a special wine for the occasion." Elizabeth's chest constricted. "I'll be there at 7. And the baby shower next Saturday at Golden Garden. Can you manage the decorations? You're so handy with that." Martha's tone was casual, as if it were a small favor. Elizabeth's jaw clenched. "Mom, I'm swamped with work. I checked with Daniel. He said you're free." Elizabeth sighed, irritation flaring. Her husband, Daniel, must have been cornered by her mom's questions. He was always too polite with her family. "Fine, I'll do it." That evening, Elizabeth and Daniel drove to her parents' sprawling home in the suburbs. Daniel glanced at her, his eyes soft with concern. "You okay? You don't need to push yourself tonight." Elizabeth tried a faint smile. "I'm fine. They're my family." Daniel nodded, but his silence conveyed he knew more than he was letting on. He knew her parents had become distant following her miscarriage. Their sympathies had been short-lived, supplanted by condescending remarks. "Move on," they'd told her, as if her loss had been a slight detour. When they arrived, Rebecca met them at the door. Her pregnancy wasn't apparent yet, but pride radiated from her face. "Elizabeth, Daniel, you're here." She enveloped them both, radiating energy. "Everyone's inside, come on." In the living room, John Harrison stood holding a whiskey. He pumped Daniel's hand in greeting. "How's the law firm, Dan? Nail that big case yet?" Martha kissed Elizabeth's cheek, her eyes studying her daughter. "You look thin, dear. You should eat more." Elizabeth's smile forced itself, her stomach twisting. Her mother's words cut, sweeping away her grief like dust. The dinner table was filled with her mother's loud talk about Rebecca's pregnancy. Rebecca glowed, telling all the details. "No morning sickness whatsoever. The doctor says it's perfect." John laughed, taking a swig of his drink. "That's our Rebecca. Always the center of attention." Elizabeth fidgeted with her food, smiling in agreement. Daniel's hand slipped around hers under the table, squeezed softly. After dinner, Martha beckoned Elizabeth into the kitchen. "Here's the gift list for the shower." She handed him a tablet, already on to a spreadsheet. "And I've got some ideas for decorating. Can you manage?" Elizabeth nodded, her throat constricting. "Can handle it." Driving home, Daniel's voice was gentle. "You don't have to do this, Liz. You can refuse." Elizabeth gazed out the window, city lights blurring by. Their family. If I don't help, then who will? The next morning her phone rang again. It was Helen, Daniel's aunt from Chicago. "Elizabeth, I'm going to Boston this weekend. Can we sit down?" Elizabeth's shoulders unclenched, a warmth rare in her spreading over her. "Helen, of course. Please. I'll be here Friday. Can't wait to see your designs. That evening, Elizabeth snuggled up next to Daniel in bed. Helen's coming. Can talk to her. Truly talk. Daniel stroked her hair softly. That's nice, Liz. She's family, really family. Elizabeth nodded, though her heart felt leaden. She wished she could open up, but the words were stuck. Friday morning, and Elizabeth was shopping in a downtown market, selecting a gift for Rebecca's shower. She cradled a small pair of baby shoes, her fingers resting. Her own loss crashed over her like a wave, making it difficult to breathe. She turned the corner and saw Michael, Rebecca's husband, arms laden with shopping bags. Hi, Michael. She smiled, forcing it. He came towards her, his voice low. Liz, tomorrow's shower, are you okay with it? His concern surprised her. She wanted to brush it off, but his gentle eyes halted her. Difficult. But I'll get by. Michael nodded. Rebecca and your parents, they don't always see that you're in pain. Elizabeth's eyes welled with tears. Thanks, Michael. That means a lot. At home, Daniel sat on the couch, laptop open. His face was strained. Liz, have you looked at Rebecca's Instagram? Elizabeth furrowed her brow, shaking her head. He turned the screen. The post read, "Big surprise at tomorrow's baby shower. I've got something special planned for someone special." Elizabeth's stomach twisted. What's she up to? Daniel's brow furrowed. I don't know, but it feels off. Elizabeth tried to shrug it off. Maybe it's a gender reveal. But doubt gnawed at her. Rebecca's surprises were never simple. That night, Helen arrived, her energy a bright spot in the gloom. At 60, her gray hair was cropped short, her blue eyes sharp. She hugged Elizabeth tightly. You're too thin, Liz. Everything okay? Elizabeth forced a laugh. Just busy. But Helen's gaze lingered, seeing through the lie. After dinner, they sat on the patio, stars twinkling above. Helen sipped her wine, her voice gentle but firm. Liz, how's your family treating you? After everything. Elizabeth's breath caught. Daniel told you. He's worried. Am I? Elizabeth stared at her hands. Mom and Dad pretend my miscarriage didn't occur. It's all about Rebecca now. Her flawless pregnancy. Helen's expression turned cold. That's not fair. Family is supposed to be there for you, not deny your suffering. Elizabeth's eyes watered, but she refrained from crying. They're still my family. Helen crept in closer. Family isn't blood. Family is who shows up. Elizabeth hadn't been able to say anything before Daniel emerged outside, looking white. Rebecca just phoned. She has a special presentation for the shower. Wouldn't tell her what it is. Elizabeth's heart was pounding. What's she going to do? Her brain whirled, fear settling in. Rebecca's smile during dinner appeared in her mind. Too bright, too cutting. Something was on the horizon, and it was bad. Elizabeth awoke to the pungent scent of disinfectant. A white hospital ceiling came into focus. Her body throbbed, pain seeping into her ribs. Liz, can you hear me? Daniel's voice cut through the haze. She blinked, his concerned face materializing. His eyes were red, but relief softened them. Daniel, where am I? Her voice was hoarse, barely a whisper. You're in the hospital. You're going to be okay. Elizabeth's gaze shifted, taking in the sterile room. And 4 dripped beside her bed. 2 figures stood near the window. Helen, her gray hair catching the light, looked tense. Beside her was a man in a police uniform. Elizabeth's heart skipped. Memories flooded back in jagged pieces. The baby shower at Golden Garden. Rebecca's heartless declaration of her miscarriage. Martha's clutching at her hair. Push. Fall. She ran her hand over her forehead, flinching at a bruise. What had happened? The officer moved forward, notebook in hand. Miss Harrison, I'm Detective Martin. How are you feeling? It hurts, but I'm here. What's the situation? We're looking into your fall. Can you tell me what you recall? Elizabeth's throat constricted. She saw Rebecca's smug expression in her head. My sister Rebecca gave a speech. She told me she was celebrating my miscarriage. The room came to a stop. Then Martha, my mom, grabbed me. She yanked my hair, told me to stop being dramatic. We struggled by the balcony. She shoved me and I fell. Detective Martin took notes. His expression unreadable. That's serious. We've got witness accounts. Some are consistent with your account, others not. Elizabeth felt her stomach twist. What do you mean? Your family says it was an accident. Rebecca says her words were a joke. Martha tells you slipped during an argument. Elizabeth's fists grasped the hospital blanket. A joke. She teased my loss in front of everyone. And Mom didn't release me, she pushed me. Daniel squeezed her hand, his jaw clenched. You saw it, Liz. So did Helen. We're not going to let them spin this. Helen edged closer, her eyes blazing. Martha was out of control. I tried to intervene, but it happened too quickly. Detective Martin nodded. We're investigating. The restaurant has cameras. We'll check the tapes. Elizabeth's mind was racing. Cameras. Evidence. Her family couldn't spin their way out of this. But another thing nagged at her. Rebecca's Instagram message about a special surprise. It wasn't just a bad joke. It seemed staged, a public humiliation. She had to know why. When the detective departed, Helen sat beside her bed. Liz, you don't owe them anything. Not after this. Elizabeth glared at the ceiling. They're my family. I thought I could do it. Daniel spoke softly but firmly. Family doesn't do this. Rebecca shamed you. Martha hurt you. Elizabeth's eyes burned, but there were no tears. She felt something new. Anger, cold and cutting. They'd crossed a boundary. She wasn't just a victim anymore. She'd forced them to see what they'd done. But how? Suing them seemed too slow, too detached. She wanted them to feel the horror of their cruelty. Daniel took out his phone, furrowing his brow. I received a message from Michael. Rebecca's husband. He tells her he's sorry things happened this way. Wants to see you when you go out. Elizabeth scowled. Michael had been nice at the market. He'd noticed her agony where others hadn't. Could he assist? Or was he one of Rebecca's tricks? She needed to watch out. The following day, Elizabeth was released to go home. Her ribs were bruised, her ankle sprained, but she'd made it through. At home, she sat on the couch, a blanket in her lap. Helen made tea, her voice low. I looked at Rebecca's Instagram. She posted this morning. Says she's heartbroken over your accident. Claims it was all a misunderstanding. Elizabeth's blood boiled. A misunderstanding. She humiliated me in front of the whole school. Daniel passed her his phone. The post was slick, full of insincere tears. Rebecca had written, "My sister overreacted to a joke. I never intended to hurt her." Comments flooded in, some in defense of Rebecca, others calling her out. Elizabeth's hands shook. She's lying to cover herself. Helen nodded. And your parents are supporting her too. I heard Martha at the hospital, saying to guests you were unstable. Elizabeth felt ill. Her own mother rewriting the narrative. She had considered the Golden Gardens cameras. If what they recorded was the truth, then she stood a chance. But outing them wasn't enough. Rebecca and Martha had to have the bite of pain from their actions. Elizabeth's mind snapped into focus, a plan cohering. The baby shower was a public event. Rebecca adored attention, lapped up adoration. What if Elizabeth turned it against her? She recalled the gift table, stacked high with gifts from the shower. Rebecca had asked her to put the gift list together. Elizabeth still had possession of the tablet Martha had given her. It contained emails, guest lists, even Rebecca's event notes. What if there was something more? Something Rebecca didn't want discovered. She turned to Daniel. Can you pick up that tablet from my office? Kate should have it. Daniel nodded, sensing her determination. What are you thinking, Liz? I'm not sure yet. But Rebecca wrote that speech. I need to know why. Helen leaned in, speaking softly. Be careful, Liz. Your family's already spinning lies. If you push back, they'll come for you harder. Elizabeth's eyes narrowed. Let them try. They'd thought she was weak, broken by her loss. But they'd underestimated her. For the next few days, Elizabeth slept, her body recovering but her mind whirling. She read the tablet, searching for Rebecca's emails to the event coordinator. One stood out, a note that had been sent a week prior to the shower. "Ensure the spotlight is on me," Rebecca wrote. "I want Elizabeth to observe what a true family celebration feels like." The words are a slap in the face. Rebecca hadn't simply ridiculed her miscarriage. She'd intended to gloat in Elizabeth's face. Elizabeth's indignation increased, but she remained composed. She required a strategy that would reveal Rebecca's brutality without turning her into the villain. She considered the cameras at the restaurant. If the video captured Martha's shove, it would tarnish their pristine reputation. But how to obtain it? She phoned Michael, her voice calm. "Michael, you said I could call. Can we speak?" He agreed to meet at a secluded cafe. When they sat down, Michael was uncomfortable, his hands wringing. "Liz, I had no idea Rebecca would take it so far. I attempted to intervene." Elizabeth regarded him. Was he sincere or in cahoots with his wife? What did she do before the speech? Michael hesitated. She told him she wanted to put you in your place. Told him you were stealing her spotlight with your drama. Elizabeth's heart fell. Her sister viewed her sorrow as rivalry. She leaned forward. "Michael, I need to ask a favor of you. There's evidence from the restaurant. Will you get it?" Michael's eyes widened. "That's dangerous, Liz. But I'll try. I owe you that much." Elizabeth nodded, hope flickering. With the video and Rebecca's emails, she had a weapon. Her plan was coming together. She'd use Rebecca's own stage, the public, the family, the town's eyes, to reveal who she really was. But she had to be clever. One misstep, and her family would turn the story around again. As she walked out of the cafe, her phone vibrated. A text from Rebecca. "Get well soon, sis. Let's put this behind us." Elizabeth's grip tightened. Rebecca wasn't sorry. She was scared. And she should be. Elizabeth lay in the hospital bed, her right arm in a cast. Pain throbbed in her ribs, but her mind was sharp. Helen sat beside her, holding her hand. "Liz, you're lucky. The fall could have been worse. Doctor says it's a concussion, broken arm and bruises. You'll heal." Elizabeth nodded, her throat tight. "I remember everything. Rebecca's speech. Mom's fingers in my hair. Push." Daniel's face darkened, his tone low. "It wasn't an accident, Liz. We're not going to let them get away with it." A woman in a crisp suit came into the room. "Elizabeth, I'm Carol Watson, your lawyer. Sarah Jenkins from your firm sent me. I'm here to assist you." Elizabeth blinked, disoriented. "A lawyer? Why?" Detective Martin, who remained by the window, cleared his throat. "Miss Harrison, we must speak." Michael Foster stepped forward. "He's told us things, serious things." Elizabeth's heart pounded. "What things?" Helen's tone was soft but stern. "Michael's been tailing your family for months. He observed how they treated you, particularly after your miscarriage." Detective Martin moved closer. "We're interviewing Rebecca and your parents. They're suspected of causing your fall. But there's more. Michael's evidence indicates they might have hurt you prior." Elizabeth's breath hitched. "Hurt me? How?" Carol pushed her glasses up on the bridge of her nose. "Michael discovered text messages on Rebecca's phone. Pharmacy receipts, too. They refer to drugs administered to you while you were pregnant." Elizabeth's world shifted. "My miscarriage. They did this." Her voice cracked, tears scalding her eyes. Detective Martin nodded. "We discovered pills at your parents'. They're being analyzed now. The messages reveal Rebecca and your parents discussing it." Elizabeth's hand shook. "Why would they do this?" Helen squeezed her hand. "Michael explains that your parents viewed Rebecca as their legacy. They wanted her to be the first grandchild, to bear the family name." Daniel's jaw clenched. "You took my surname, Harrison. That made you less in their estimation." Carol continued. "They were fixated on Rebecca's triumph. Your career, your pregnancy. It took attention away from her spotlight. Elizabeth buried her face, tears flowing. Rebecca's texts labeled her selfish for becoming pregnant first. Friends of hers informed us she was angry, Carol said. She couldn't tolerate you stealing the spotlight from her. Elizabeth's sadness became anger. They stole my baby. They pushed me off a balcony. All to keep Rebecca in power. Daniel put his arms around her. They're not your family, Liz. We are me, Helen, Michael. Michael's in the waiting room, Helen said. He wants to see you when you're ready. Elizabeth wiped away her tears. Bring him in. Michael came in, his face weighed down with guilt. Liz, I'm so sorry. I should have stopped her earlier. Rebecca altered after hearing your pregnancy news. She'd sneak into your kitchen, messing with your tea, your food. I thought she was just being helpful. Elizabeth shuddered. Her sister's fake smiles hid poison, literally. Why tell me now? 'Cause she went too far, Michael said. That speech at the shower. She planned it to break you. She thought her pregnancy gave her the win. Elizabeth's resolve hardened. They needed to face consequences. Not just for her fall but for her child. Carol leaned forward. We're building a case. Michael's evidence is strong. Texts, receipts, even witness statements. The restaurant's cameras caught the whole thing. Elizabeth's pulse quickened. The footage shows Martha pushing me. Detective Martin nodded. Clear as day. We're charging her with assault. Rebecca and your parents are also facing charges for the drugs. Elizabeth took a shaky breath. She saw her plan forming, clear and cold. She wouldn't just sue them. She'd expose them to everyone they cared about. Rebecca craved the town's admiration. Martha and John lived for their ideal picture. Elizabeth would destroy it. She appealed to Carol. Can we release the evidence to the public? At the trial, I mean. Let their friends, their neighbors, judge who they actually are. Carol's eyes sparkled. We can ask for an open court. The press will feast on it, particularly with your magazine celebrity. Elizabeth agreed. Do it. They want to play ideal. I'll show the world their deceit. During the following weeks, Elizabeth recuperated at home. Her arm recovered slowly, her bruises cleared. But her rage glowed strong. She and Carol worked on the trial. Michael presented additional evidence. Emails in which Rebecca taunted Elizabeth's designs, dubbed her marriage a distraction. Every sentence fueled the fire. She wrote a statement for the courtroom. Not only to win the case, but to strip her family naked. The day of the trial came, a drizzly spring morning. Elizabeth waited outside the courthouse in Boston, the cast on her arm itchy beneath her sleeve. Daniel grasped her hand, Helen beside her. Rebecca, Martha, and John waited inside, their faces white but resolute. Rebecca's attorney described her words as a misunderstanding. Martha said that her shove was an accident. Elizabeth's heart thudded as she rose to testify. She glanced at her family, their eyes shying from hers. I lost my child for what they did, she started, her voice even. Rebecca drugged me, conspired with my parents. That baby shower was not a party, it was an ambush. She read from Rebecca's texts, each one greeted by gasps from the courtroom. She talked of the fall, Martha's hands pushing her towards the railing. The courtroom was quiet, the room thick with air. Michael took the stand next, his voice cracking. He produced the pharmacy records, the pills stashed in Martha's home. I am divorcing Rebecca, he said. She's not worthy to bring up our child. The judge's face was stern as the recording rolled. It captured Martha's fury, her hands shoving Elizabeth to the edge. Rebecca's grin as Elizabeth tumbled. The spectators burst into whispers. Journalists wrote at lightning speed, their headlines already written. 3 months ago the trial concluded. Rebecca received 4 years for poisoning Elizabeth. Martha and John received 5 years each for their involvement. Rebecca delivered in prison, the child given into state care. Michael opted to care for the baby himself, promising to do a better job. Elizabeth sat at her kitchen table, sunlight streaming in. A year had passed since the shower. She'd severed connections with her blood family. They'd relocated after being sentenced, still faulting her. But Elizabeth was free. She spent weekends with Helen, who came often from Chicago. Daniel's family became her anchor, their love steady and real. One morning the doorbell rang. Helen stood there with a shy girl about 12 years old. "Liz, this is Sophia," Helen said. "Her mom passed away recently. She needs a home." Sophia's eyes were nervous but hopeful. "I heard you're kind," she said softly. "Helen told me family's about love, not just blood." Elizabeth's heart swelled. She knelt down, meeting Sophia's gaze. "That's right, Sophia. Love makes a family." She glanced at Daniel, who smiled. They'd been talking about adoption since her miscarriage. Doctors said pregnancy might be hard, but her heart was open. "Let's get to know each other," Elizabeth said. Sophia's face lit up, a small spark of trust. That night, Elizabeth and Daniel lay in bed, the stars bright outside. "Sophia's staying for the weekend," Elizabeth said. "I think she could be part of our family." Daniel squeezed her hand. "I'm in, Liz. She's a good kid." Elizabeth smiled, tranquility washing over her. Her blood family had attempted to shatter her, but she'd fought back, revealing their cruelty to the world. Their image shattered, their lies exposed. Family wasn't about blood, it was about love, respect, and showing up. Elizabeth had discovered hers, and she'd build a new life with them. Hey everyone, what a story, right? Elizabeth transformed pain into strength and showed that family is who you make them. If this story of betrayal and redemption had you stuck to your screen, smash the like button. Leave a comment. Have you ever had to get in the face of someone close to you? Share this video with your friends, they must see it. Subscribe and ring the bell for more revenge stories that'll have you on the edge of your seat. Join our Patreon to share your own suggestions for our next story. Catch you in the next one.